Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Hello, how are you, everyone? This is Erica Bishop here from Monday Night Meetup. I want to make sure tonight, I pray that everyone is starting off to have an outstanding week. It is such a pleasure and a joy to be on tonight. It seemed to have a few connection problems, so we want to double check and make sure everything is okay. Because I've got some good stuff to share with you all, and I want to make sure that you're going to get it so we can share it. And I'm going to just take a few seconds. If you can hear me and see in the chat. If not, I may have to change devices. Let me know. Let me know. I want to make sure that everyone can see me and hear me. Good evening. Good meet up. Okay, it looks like I'm live. I want to make sure that everyone could see me and hear me and that it wasn't going out. Okay, so again, life coach, relationship strategist, using the principles and techniques of emotional intelligence to show you how you can live a lifestyle of emotional intelligence in a healthy manner, and how to enhance your relationships with your family, friends, co-workers, and anyone that you come in contact. Indeed, excited to be here with you all tonight. And I hope that everything goes through, because we seem to be having a little bit of problem with the internet, but we're going to continue to go forward anyway. So on tonight, we're going to be talking about how to avoid having emotional explosions. Thanksgiving will be here shortly. The Christmas holidays this year has been a little bit different. A lot of us have our own family. And with that being said, we can't choose our family. We can choose our friends. And some where it might be a little bit challenging when we're thinking about who is going to be sitting at the dinner table for our holiday events. So we have to prepare ourselves not only spiritually, but also mentally and emotionally when we're not where we have had some dysfunction in our families. And we want to make sure that we are prepared for the event and that we're not caught off guard, really not walking away when it comes to that holiday event. We want to make sure that we're in a good space and that we have prepared ourselves accordingly. So a couple of things that I wanted to share with you, good evening. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Some of the things that I have any questions, please chat or right here in the comments, and I'll definitely try to catch them. When we think about being with family and friends during the holidays, and specifically when we're talking about family, we know that familiarity can breed contempt. So let's talk about sibling rivalry. Let's talk about possible negative experiences with some family members, and we're going to have to be around those individuals for the holidays. Now, keep it in mind, the holidays, the focus is joy, peace, love, and gratitude. We're here to spread that love. We are here to make those memories. But let's be honest, there's some family members that we may not necessarily be on the same page with. And that could be from a variety of different things. So this is a great time. If you have been doing the work, and I share this quite often, you've been doing the work, this is a great time for you to reintroduce yourself to your family, especially if it's a situation in their lives. This is a new normal, but let's be perfectly honest. Even with all the things that have been happening with COVID, with this year of being 2020, many of us have really been blessed. We have really been walking in some tremendous blessings. And there's some that have had to experience some hardships. situation by itself, because there's always going to be that question, well, why are you blessed and I'm not? So unfortunately, jealousy can rear its ugly head when he decides to bless you. It doesn't make anyone any less blessed. Good evening, everyone. Great evening. It doesn't make anyone less blessed by God. You're just in your season of being blessed. So when we're talking about being with family, and it can probably breed some contempt. So I really want you to be prepared emotionally. I want you to be ready for what you may have to walk into when we're talking about spending time with family. Thank you so much. And I hope y'all can hear me, because my internet, for whatever reason, is trying to trip over here, but I know this is good. So when we're talking about not having those emotional explosions, that we are honest about where we are and how we feel. So you know that cousin, you know that aunt, you know that sibling, you know that friend, you know who's going to be there. We have blended families. We have siblings that we may have not necessarily had. But let's remember, we're going to be in some proximity with these individuals at some point in time. And we have to make sure we have adapted that place of self-mastery to make sure we're not giving over our power to those individuals who normally. This may be a good time for you to reintroduce yourself to those individuals, because you're not that person anymore. You've been putting in the work. You've had your self-reflection. You understand your true of empathy. You have a greater degree of discernment, and you're not going to get tripped up and trapped in family manipulation. You're not going to get tripped up and trapped into any family manipulation. So we want to reintroduce ourselves and know your values. So now we're talking about families coming together. You have your household. Somebody else has their thing. We don't. You have your own ways of raising your children. Somebody else has their ways of raising their children. Now you're coming together as a group of individuals, and everybody's going to see that you do something. Make sure you know your values and you stick to your values, because this is what works in your household. Remember, this is a situation where you have to take them back home with you. This is a one-day event. So we don't want this one-day event to spoil the next 30 days or the next 6 months of our life, because we've given over our power to something that we didn't need to do. Remember, we are to spread joy. So let's talk about, we talked about reintroducing yourself, knowing your values. Now, let's also talk about to make sure we're not too petty to be powerful. Okay. Some of us have perfected how to be petty. Some of us have perfected how to be petty. And we know that we can be petty with certain people. And we know people can be petty with us. This is the thing. Don't get trapped up and find yourself in petty. Don't get trapped and tripped up and find yourself in Pettyville with your siblings and other family members, because you know they're going to want to take you there. Don't do it. They're going to try it. So, there are a couple things that cause us to have high emotions anyway. It's stress, it's depression, it's on in our lives, because we have for everybody. Some people have lost jobs. Some people may have lost houses. Some people may have lost family members. Some people may have lost things they just had to give up and make tough decisions less abundantly. So again, there may be some jealousy that is just full of abundance. Your life is just full of joy, and we can't get caught up in the other stuff, because God has placed us to be able to bless others for such a time as this. So we've got to be honest about where we are with God. So it may warrant. Now, I would really, because you know your family. I'm just speaking generally. You know your family. If you know you have that cousin or that aunt that you know is going to be there, and you know, sometimes we have the matriarch, patriarch thing. We have the family. Their word seems to be law. And we're not talking about disrespecting our elders. I believe in honoring our elders. We are to do that. But in addition to, we are not going to put ourselves in a position where we're going to be disrespected. In a position to where we're going to have someone to try to manipulate our lives for a day to show up 6 and 7 months later for something that we really don't want to do. We have to be honest with our values and who we are and where we are in our lives. And this dumb down your blessings to make somebody else feel good. Now, we're talking about family gatherings. I've seen it all. You know you're blessed. God may have blessed you with a new home, your blessings, to make somebody else feel good. We're not going to do that, because that means we're dishonoring God, and that's not what we're going to do. Glory, rise, shine, and give God all the glory, because he's the one that blessed you. Now, with that, we're not going to feel guilty about being blessed either. Because, you know, let's just be honest how family can be. Oh, you think you all that because. Oh, you think you all that because. Or look at her, y'all. She missed perfect. She missed this. She missed that. He missed this. He missed that. Think you all that. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to stand strong and stand tall and say, yes, I'm blessed. Because you know what? You worked hard. And this is your season to be blessed. It is not your fault. It's be apologetically because you put in the work. All right. So let's talk about siblings and blended family. Now, co-parenting is real. I've had to do it. Thing down, but I can honestly say I have a good co-parent. My family dynamic would be what it is. So I want to share something with you. In this book, Master Your Emotions, Master Your Life, we talk about co-parenting, blended families, and the ABC. C is for communication. So now, so-and-so may come to the house to visit. I invited so-and-so over. They may be there. It's up to us. Master your emotions, master your life. So it's up to us. Parent. Remember the Teddyville. So with that, we know the boundaries we need to set and how to honor ourselves and not be in this passive aggressive nature because we got other people that's throwing shade. I will have a free chapter to be out on PayHip for a free download. And I'll do the one about the parenting and the family. And I'm going to also have the word wheel and the emotion chart. I want to show you a couple things that's very important. So I talk about the different styles of parenting in this book. But also I have in here, if y'all can see that, I have an emotion wheel. I have the list. I wanted to make sure that we had something for our children. And this is a chart. I'm going to add that one. And that's something good to use ourselves. You know, even as adults, you may want to keep a couple of pages of this in your journal or in your notebook or somewhere you in your planner. And if you're having a day, you may want to mark your own day. And that's good to track your own mood. I'm kind of going off to something else, but it's good to go ahead and track your own moods to see what. So laughing to avoid depression during this time of the year. And there is a syndrome called SAD, seasonal affective disorder. And back to the blended families and the co-parents. So, you know, unfortunately, we may have a dynamic where you may have one of your siblings, and sometimes that's the oldest. The oldest family member sometimes acts, the oldest sibling sometimes acts as the bully because they feel entitled because they're the ones who are the oldest. They were first and they know the best. Your middle sibling may be the people pleaser, the one that wants attention. And I'm kind of jumping into this a little bit, because the oldest is tend to be a little bit more reliable, a little bit more structured, but sometimes the oldest can be the one that's very controlling. They want to control your household, and they make your own money. You pay your own bills, and you have somebody else telling you what you can and cannot do. That's an easy fight, but that's not what we want to do. So we want to make sure that we're not that we know that's going to bait us in. They know that one conversation they want to have every single holiday when the family meet up. They know that's that one thing that's going to set you off. But you know what? You're going to reintroduce yourself. You know what? You're not going to respond the same way. Why? Because awareness, and because of your higher degree of self-awareness, you're not going to get baited into their manipulation to make you feel bad about you being blessed, to make you feel bad because your children not out here doing whatever. You single and successful. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You are to promote peace, love, and empathy. Okay, so let's talk about that middle sibling. Sometimes it's a people please because they feel left out. Because the one in the middle is in between. You may be a middle, I'm an oldest, and that perfectionism thing, I'm being delivered from that part. But me and my brother, we're 20 years apart. We're two completely different generations. So we don't bump heads growing up. So I believe if we was a little bit closer, we probably would have. Let's talk about the last child. Fun-loving, self-centered, outgoing, and can be very manipulative. Why? Because they want attention, makeup of the family, and those half sisters, half brothers that may be close to the family, may not be. And they may be a part of the circle as well. And you got to deal with the emotions that come with that. So when you've gotten remarried, or you may have gotten remarried and you have other children, we're talking about blending the dynamics when they come together. Okay? So let's talk about a couple other things. Let's talk about establishing boundaries. How do we prevent ourselves from having these emotional explosions? We have to establish the necessary boundaries to make sure that we have communicatively and will not have. So we're not going to be yelling. We're not going to be screaming. We're not going to be cussing, fussing, and hollering. We're not going to be dangling past issues and kind of throwing them out there to make us feel bad, because to be truthful, we may have some people that want to remind us of what we used to be. So this is how you handle that. You are absolutely right. You know what? Thank you so much. Let them tell your story and you give God glory for it. Because we do have some people that want to remind us of what we used to do, what we used to be. But remember, we're new now. So we're not going to get baited in. Give God glory for where we are. So remember when I used to, but God is so good because I am no longer that individual. He has just made my life over. Ooh, I just can't never going to bust up a good praise. Okay. If you want to, he trying you, praise God real hard. Okay. That'll shut him down real quick. Ain't nothing like a good praise. All right. So set your boundaries. Let me read this real quick. Safe word. Use this scenario. You and your husband are there, and you know it's a potential for some drama. You may have to prepare yourself with a safe word. That means, you know what, it's time to pull up and go. Event prior to, you're going to have someone that wants to push your boundaries and see if you're going to uphold your position. Do not be afraid to pack up and take your family home. You say it in love, kiss them to pull up Pack up your stuff and go to the house. Because why? You're promoting peace. Because you live in peace and you're going to stay in that place of peace. Again, don't engage in conversation that you know the drawing card, and don't even give your true to yourself, but where you don't need to insert yourself to where you know that person's baiting you in. Don't say nothing. Tell you why? Because it's hard to argue by yourself. To argue, and you don't give them any ammunition to argue with, then they're the ones who are going to be sitting looking crazy. I have learned to smile and nod my head. Y'all can keep talking. I don't have an opinion for that one. Don't get caught in it. Mindfully navigate your conversations is what I'm saying. Use your discernment and understand you don't have to admit times when we understand the power that we have, and you know you probably could say some things to slice them and dice them. Power is knowing you have the power to use it, but you don't. They may try to be putting ask them not to. Stay the course of your boundaries. Have a sidebar conversation if you need to. But when it gets to a point where you feel like you're trying to be baited in, pull up, thank you, get your cover plate, and go home. Because you don't have to take them home with you. Remember to stay with you, so you don't want to take them into the house with you. If you've got to talk about it on the conversation on the way home, they've triggered you. Leave it there. Don't take it home with you. Okay? Engage in the conversation. Promote love and quick. This is in chapter 2 about emotions and relationships. So, unfortunately, we may have been in a situation where we have had and when we talk about that, sometimes we don't know everybody's story. And many people aren't prepared to share their story, and they might not even know how to communicate their story. But this is the thing about emotions. Emotions aren't. Many of us have been in environments where they were expressed in a negative manner. And our behaviors are either taught or caught. Either we were taught to behave a certain way, or we caught it by just being in the atmosphere, by being. When we understand, make sure we give that degree of empathy to our family, especially those before us, because this is something that we haven't been taught. How to express ourselves, to understand how to feel our feelings. And it's okay to feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay when you've been angry. It's okay to have an emotion, because God built us to have emotions. Emotions are good. They let us know where we are mentally and spiritually. That's what emotions are for. They let us know when we're happy. They let us know when we're sad. They let us know when we're in alignment and when we're not. That's the purpose of our emotions. Emotions are, and how we communicate them, that matters the most. And that's that part of self-mastery. So when we talk about dismissive parenting emotions, you may not have heard I love you. I have a friend of mine, his father died at the age of 14. Never heard his father tell him he loved him. None of the siblings heard it. That's just not what he did. Now, what his story is as to why it was like that, I'm not sure. My father is somewhat emotionally unavailable. And I had to learn to love him through the emotions that he learned, because he was out of an abusive household. And it helped, or not very available to me. And for a long time, I wondered if I was lovable because of not having that emotional support from my dad. But anyway, that the dismissive parent may use. Let me try something, y'all, real quick. that helps it. So we won't have the buffering. The dismissive parent will sometimes use joke. Okay. The dismissive parent will sometimes use jokes and laughter to try to, I apologize for this buffering. Can y'all still see me? I hope so. The dismissive parent will sometimes use joking and laughter to push off the fact that they're kind of brush it off, hoping that you will forget about it or get them to a place where they're okay with it. So dismissive parents will sometimes hope that someone else can help resolve the problem or the issue when it comes to your emotions because they don't feel comfortable talking about it. Oh, you okay? Don't worry about it. Or just woman up, just man up. And they'll try to go to another state because they don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation. The disapproving parent is the one that is always moving the goalpost, so to speak. An A plus. You received an A plus, but they find something wrong with what you did. And you always find yourself trying to meet their standard. And their standard keeps changing and you keep chasing after this standard and you feeling like you're not enough. You fight with children who are 40s, 50s, and the parents are still alive and they're still trying to get the approval of their parents. As children, all they want to hear. And when that, they're going to always try to find things to do to meet that. And you will find it even in the family gatherings. It's that one person that wants to outshine everybody. And then everybody gets upset because that person wants that attention. Because I know that I want to share these things with you to think about when we talk about empathy. When we have that awareness of why people do what they do, it helps us to extend grace because we understand that they don't quite understand where they are. And then we can be the ones to help them to see themselves. Because we all have blame. Why do I respond the way I do? Why am I always trying to reach? I'm always reaching. You're the one that's patient or we needed that attention. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you all. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. And I know that this ain't nothing but a distraction from the enemy because I know that some people need this because I have needed. With that being said, when we master our emotions, we literally master our life. It's about self-mastery. And we don't give the power over to others. And we love everybody. We love dysfunction in our family because we didn't know any better. We did the best we could do with what we had. Now that we know better, we can help unravel those places, unravel that dysfunction, unravel that chaos that happens at the family events. That we don't have to, and it makes us not want to talk to people. We have to embrace every opportunity we have to share, to bring love and joy, not to fight, not to be on bad terms, but to have a moment that we can watch out for them, to be prepared for them, to arm you with your powers, as we said in Pettyville, being too petty to be powerful, so that we can have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Get an opportunity, I pray, to go back and catch the replay. Prayerfully, it won't be buffering when you catch the replay. I do apologize. I don't know what was happening. Never had a problem. Master your emotions, master your life. I'll be updating some information and I'll put it here in the comments so that you can get a chapter. Connect with me because I am here to help you with your relationships. I am here to help you discover and reignite your purpose, your passion through your emotions and how to enhance those relationships. I pray it's been a blessing to you. Please share with someone. Ask them to join When Women Heal. I love you so much. Y'all have a blessed week, and I'll be back emotions again next week during the holidays. And if you have anything that you'd like for me to revisit or to visit, just let me know. And y'all be blessed and have a wonderful night. Take care.